Alan Cumming's amazing Hollywood tales. From meeting Stanley Kubrick to Spice Girls summer. Actor Alan Cumming discusses hanging out with Tom Cruise, Stanley Kubrick and spending a crazy summer with the Spice Girls. Alan Cumming's amazing Hollywood tales. From meeting Stanley Kubrick to Spice Girls summer. Image, Getty Images by Claire O'Boyle. 20:17, 29th of October 2021. Updated 20:58. October 29, 2021, comments. Hess flirted with Tom Cruise, spent a summer with the Spice Girls and given some serious attitude to Hollywood legend Stanley Kubrick. Now in his autobiography Baggage, actor Alan Cumming tells of the A-list encounters that helped shape him. Scottish Alan, 56, with star roles in everything from Emma to X-Men and The Good Wife, says, "Much of Baggage chronicles my life in Hollywood and how work whisked me away from calamity. I've endeavored to show how I've become a happy, flawed, vulnerable, fearless man. With lots of baggage. Here are some of those incredible stories." Tom Cruise, Stanley Kubrick and a week on Eyes Wide Shut. It's always awkward on your first day in any new job, not knowing who's who and how everything works. By then, Eyes Wide Shut had been shooting for over a year, and would eventually hold the Guinness World Record for the world's longest continuous film shoot, at 400 days. Things were pretty well into their stride by the time I rolled up as new boy. I was called for rehearsal and walked on set to find Tom Cruise and Stanley Kubrick standing before me. I had met Tom briefly when he came to see Cabaret in London, but it was my first encounter with Stanley, who peered at me over his glasses. "Hey, Stanley, I'm Alan," I said, proffering my hand to this old man, who, on first glance, reminded me of a Hobbit version of Salman Rushdie. "You're not American," he retorted gruffly. I had heard tales of Stanley being formidable and demanding, so I was slightly on guard already. "I know," I said, still rather taken aback. "I'm Scottish. You were American on the tapes," he continued. Something in me snapped, or maybe I just took an objective look at the situation. I had been waiting for months to shoot this scene after auditioning for it many times, on several continents. "Fuck you, old man," I thought to myself. I know I was American on the tapes. But I actually said, "Yeah, that's because I'm an actor, Stanley." Nothing was said for a moment. Tom cleared his throat a little awkwardly. I think I caught the hint of a smile beneath Stanley's bushy beard. "Let's run the lines," he replied. It's well known that Stanley did many takes of scenes, and I had girded my loins to be ready to repeat and regurgitate my performance ad nauseum. My scene involves me, as a hotel clerk, being questioned by Tom Cruise as he tries to find out information about a missing man. Part of the reason it is so memorable, aside from it being the only funny scene in the entire movie, is that I am basically cruising Tom. The clerk is incredibly flirty, and I remember voicing my worry to Stanley that perhaps I'd gone a little too far in how enamored I was and how full-on my seduction seemed, and remember, that was me saying this. Stanley would have none of it. "No," he encouraged me. "Keep going. It can go up another notch." I worked only a week on Eyes Wide Shut, yet perhaps a reason why my time on this film is so entrenched in my mind is that it was an experience that confounded my expectations. Mortals, all the stories I'd heard before starting were that Stanley was a despot and Tom some sort of sacred Hollywood cow that we mere mortals must not gaze upon. Nothing could have been further from the truth. Tom was sweet and approachable and talked lovingly of his wife, and no, nothing registered on my gaydar. Stanley was hilarious, interested, and interesting, and we had great chats about Kafka and Chekhov. My golden summer with the Spice Girls. There are very few actors who can say they made back-to-back films with Stanley Kubrick and the Spice Girls. There is only one, and that is me. On my return to Britain at the beginning of 1997, I had a crash course in the Spice phenomenon. While Britain was succumbing, America had yet to be so lucky, and the Spice Girls had barely registered on my cultural radar. Those were the days before music was dropped worldwide at the exact same moment. Those were the days when music was not dropped at all. It was released, on CD predominantly, before the revival of vinyl and after the demise of tape. I still have the cassette of the first Spice Girls album in pride of place on my shelves. "Darling, I have a rather weird one for you," said the voice on the other end of the line one morning. "Heard of the Spice Girls? I'm currently alive, so yes," I quipped. "Well, they're making a movie and they want you to be in it." "What?" Favorite. It turned out that Jerry, aka Ginger Spice, had seen me in Hamlet on a college group outing just days after her father had died. 4 years later, she insisted I was the natural choice to play Piers, a documentarian chronicling the band's every move in Spice World, the movie. I am often asked my favorite of all the films I have made, and I always answer Spice World. I do it partly to confound any intellectual snobbery, but also to point out that for me, the experience of making a film is far, far more important than how it turns out, is perceived, or performs at the box office, in the ratings or reviews. That summer was golden for me, running around London, laughing, and frolicking with 5 girls who were at the very zenith of their pop princess potency, being taught the dance moves of the Spice Girls songs by the Spice Girls themselves. I felt at home, happy, carefree. Every day was an adventure, and anything seemed possible, and that's how I want all my life to be. On my last day the girls called me into their trailer. Yes, the 5 of them shared one trailer, often with their mums in tow, while Richard E. Grant, who played their manager, and I had equally big trailers for ourselves. I was presented with a card full of messages of thanks for agreeing to be in their film. They were that nice. But best of all, Emma's message called me a special Spice boy. "Drop the mic. Thank you, good night." That card, along with Polaroids of me with each Spice on my last day of filming, is framed and has pride of place in my study. Get all the biggest showbiz news straight to your inbox. Sign up for the free Mirror Showbiz newsletter. The humiliating story I told the Big Ian when I met Billy Connolly in the early 2000s. I was hosting the Britannia Awards in LA, and I was completely overwhelmed. "He is a god to me, Billy," I gurgled. "You know how in one of your shows you tell that story about how you lost your virginity in a tent in Arbroath?" "Huh," said the Big Ian, curious at where this was going. "Well," I continued, beginning to glean the story was going to be very humiliating, but gamely plowing through. "I passed my driving test in Arbroath. Heart many years later, Billy was doing a run of his show in New York City, but I couldn't see him because I was on the exact same schedule in the Threepenny Opera on Broadway. One night I was having drinks in a bar in the East Village called Eastern Bloc, which just so happens to now be called Club Cumming, and I met 2 Scottish guys who said they had been to see Billy's show that night. I told them how I would have loved to have gone. "He actually mentioned you," said one of the Scots. "What?" My heart stopped for a second. "Yes," said the other boy. "Something about you meeting him in LA and telling him you'd pass your driving test in Arbroath. Can you imagine the honor to know that the legend that is Billy Connolly was telling the story of me gushing to him at that awards show in his act?" He apparently regaled the crowd with my goofy "you lost your virginity" / "I passed my driving test" and finished it with "I think I got the better deal." Honor. Many years later, I was asked to present Billy with the Great Scott Award, given by the National Trust for Scotland Foundation USA. I was able to tell the man himself just how important it had been to me to see him never compromise his own voice and authenticity, but brandish it as a badge of honor. At the end of my speech, I welcomed Billy to the stage and watched him weave through tables of standing, adoring fans. He went up to the mic and slayed for the next 10 minutes. Billy had Parkinson's by then, and as we maneuvered through the throng to get back to our table, I reached my hand out for his. For a moment time stopped, and we were just two wee Scottish boys holding on to each other, trying to navigate our way home. I'll never forget it. Extracted from Baggage, Tales from a Fully Packed Life by Alan Cumming, published by Canongate Books, out now, price £18.99 hardback. Alan will be appearing in a very limited run of live events. For tickets and info www.fame.co.uk/Alan Cumming. Do you have a story to sell? Get in touch with us at webcelebs@trinitymirror.com or call us direct 0207 29 33 033. Follow Mirror Facebook, Twitter, comment.